Hello everybody, Bill here, and today we've got a how-to video. Hopefully today I'm going to be showing you how to install some toggle switches on the dash of your MX-5 to replace the hazard and pop-up switches that come from the factory. Now this is a topic I've spent a lot of time researching. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of information on the internet about how to change these two buttons out for toggle switches. You can find plenty of information about how to change the window switches, which I've already done here, so I'd quite like to do these two buttons to match. You can buy pre-made switch kits, they're about £50. I like to try and make things myself, so last night when I had a bit of time I sat down and made this. Got the switch for the lights here and one for the hazards. You need a special 3-pin switch for the pop-ups because they have to be on in both positions, one for the automatic with the side lights and one for the button to work, and you've got your hazards here with just 2 wires. I've put a plug on here because I'm planning to solder this onto the existing loom and remove the factory plug. You don't have to do that, you could just make some connector jump leads with spade connectors to hook it up to the original loom, but I thought I'd make this, it's a bit neater. So let's pull this out and see what's going on behind. Okay, so getting this centre console out here is a relatively simple procedure. It's mostly just the crosshead screws. You've got one either side here, just at the base of the console. You can pull that out. One on the other side here. Normally you'd have one in the centre here, but I've cut out the factory ashtray sort of thing, so there's nothing holding it in the centre here, but you've got 2 more in your rear pocket here. You need to pull those out too. It's also a handy place to keep your screws so you don't lose them. Last but not least, you need to pull off your gear knob. It should just unscrew. Helps to pop it into neutral or a lower gear, so you've got space to lift the boot off. So lift from the front, should just lift off. Don't yank it too hard because you'll find underneath you should have 2 connectors, one for the electric windows, the other one is for the little light that sits in the ashtray here. I've removed that for now, so you just need to I'll just need to unplug this one here. Then pull it off the boot and fuel cap release at the back, and then that's your centre console free. The next thing we need to remove is the centre console here, a bit more involved, so let's get that off. So to remove the tombstone, there's a couple of things you've got to do. There's one little screw under here which has to come out. You've got to take the eyeball vents out. There's 2 more screws at the top here. It's often helpful to remove your radio or whatever you've got here. I've got these extra gauges which I can take out nice and easily, because as with these toggle switches, when I installed them I put them on a plug, so you can just undo that and take that out the way. To get the eyeball vents out, there's a couple of ways of doing things. I like to just use, because I've had them out a few times, they come out nice and easily, a little pair of pliers, gently grip on them and give them a yank and they should just come out. They can be a little bit unwilling to come out at times, but mine aren't too bad thankfully. So I can now, just up inside here, remove these 2 fixing screws and try not to drop them down the air vents. Just pop them there, and then this extra one here. Now that's all free, so you should be able to pull it forwards. So that's, you don't have much play in the original loom for the hazard light switches, so don't pull it too hard. Just pull it as far forward as you can. Reach behind, you should be able to undo the plug, give you a little bit more slack, which I think is enough for us to do what we want to do. So the next thing we need to look at doing is removing the original switch box thingamabob. So if we look behind the tombstone, you'll see there is one fixing screw at the top there. There should be another one on the side. So I'll yank that out and we'll see what we've got to work with. So with the factory switch out, you can see more clearly how it mounts. You've got a screw at the top there, a screw at the bottom. I had to use an adapter on a ratchet because I didn't have much room behind the thing to get a full length screwdriver in there, but it comes out easy enough. You see the original plug there. It looks like this back plate is removable, so you may, if you took this apart, be able to customize this switch panel to attach a plug to. So I may take this apart at some point and see if I could actually do that and keep the factory loom. For now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to temporarily hook up my new switches to the existing switch so that I can just test to see if these things actually work before I go cutting plugs off. So whenever you're carrying out electrical work on your car, it's always an extremely good idea to disconnect the battery. I've installed a isolator switch, so just disconnects the negative, saves me swinging spanners in that limited space. So let's get to doing some wiring. Okay, so based on my research, these top two pins in the plug here should be for the hazard light switch. So what I've done is I've temporarily pushed some crimp terminals onto my wiring. I've reconnected the battery. Let's find out whether or not this actually works. So it's this one here. There we go, we've got hazard lights. Right, so we know those work. The next ones to test will in fact be the pop-up lights. Okay, so I think I've got it sussed out now. I've rearranged the wires into what I think is the correct arrangement. You can see the switch is down, as are the pop-ups. Let's give it a try. And there they are. So that works, and we even have the little warning light on the dash to tell you that your eyes are opening and closing. Fantastic, so let's pull all this apart, chop that plug off and solder on this unit. Okay, so that's the plug all soldered on. The next thing I've got to do is protect these joints. So as you saw, I put some heat shrink over these. I'm going to slide that down over the soldered joint, if it'll fit. Hopefully I used big enough wrap. So yeah, slide it down over the soldered joint. A little bit of heat. Not too much, just enough to shrink the plastic. Nice watertight protected joint. Okay, so that's the car side wiring completed. The next thing we've got to turn our attention to will be the tombstone, more specifically fitting those toggle switches into here. Now I had ordered a stainless steel pre-made plate to fit. Unfortunately that's not arrived in time for me to do this video, so instead I'm going to be making my own out of cardboard. There we go, quick and dirty cardboard template just until the proper stainless one arrives. What I've noticed about this mod that's really nice, and anyone who's done this will have noticed, is that with the two switches stuck together like that, they fit perfectly centric in these holes, which is really nice. Makes it nice and easy, so let's get it in, pop it through the hole, sits nice and flush at the back, pop the facing over, line it up. The little bolts, the little nuts even, wind them on. Come on, thread, you bugger. And that's that. Well, there you have it. That's the installation of these toggle switches complete, barring the installation of the actual stainless faceplate, but we'll deal with that when it comes. For now, I'm going to put this thing back together and then reconnect the battery, double check that everything works properly, so join me on the other side when I'll have it all back together. Well, there you have it. That's these clunky old hazard and pop-up light switches replaced for much sleeker, nicer looking toggle switches. I've reconnected the battery and tested their function. They perform perfectly, which is a huge relief, especially for me. I really dislike wiring. I will include a write-up of everything I've done today, so wiring diagrams and what switches you need, etc., so that if you want to have a go at this yourself, you can. Relatively simple thing to do. It only took me about an hour and a half the way I did it. So it's something you could easily do in a day. I think that's everything for today. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy what I'm doing, and keep an eye out for more content.